Saudi Aramco could be one of the biggest publicly traded companies in the world, but investors might not like it. Jim Krane, Rice University Energy Research Fellow, focuses on energy consumption in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East, as well as U.S. relations with Middle East oil and gas exporters. He is also a longtime journalist who reported from the Middle East for more than 5 years and joins us now from Houston. Jim, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If Saudi Aramco takes some of its upstream assets public, its most prized possessions, why might not investors be that jazzed?
Well, so upstream is where all the money is. That's where the reserves are. That's where the oil is. So you'd think that, and that's where the lion's share of the value of Aramco is. But there's lots of overbuilt infrastructure in Saudi Arabia. So a lot of capital assets that Saudi has built that sits unused, and basically that's for strategic reasons. The Saudis use that spare oil production capacity when there's an outage, so that the Saudis get a lot of strategic power. They've maintained a friendship with the U.S. that's based on them being able to bring extra oil production on in times of crisis.
Jim,
it's not something a shareholder-owned company would probably want to do, though.
Good point.
Jim, how well run is Saudi Aramco? I know that part of the companies that are associated with state companies tend to be worse run, have lower valuations. Private companies that don't have state control tend to be better run. Where does Saudi Aramco fit in that spectrum?
Saudi Aramco is at the absolute zenith, the top of all state-run oil companies. Our research here at Rice, we've ranked shareholder-owned and NOCs and mixture hybrid companies, and Saudi Aramco consistently is always at the top. It's very revenue efficient. The government kind of ring fences it and allows it to run itself in a similar way to a profit maximizing company. It protects it from a lot of the patronage demands that other companies and entities that they have to face in the kingdom. So it's pretty good.
And in terms of the size and scope, and it's in a league of its own. We were just showing a full screen that gave some of the statistics you need to know. 260 billion barrels in reserves, 10 million barrels in daily production. The company could be worth $2.5 trillion. Yet the reserves, the production numbers, the revenue figures are all closely guarded secrets. How much of a stab in the dark are these numbers? Do we have any sense of what the true size and scale of this company is?
It's hard to know. I mean, in terms of the reserves, I mean, they've been reporting similar numbers for years. When I talk to people at Aramco, they say that those reserves numbers are accurate. As far as their revenues, how much of that revenue flows to different entities within the state, where it goes. There's always questions about the royal family and the share that flows there. So it's a black box in a lot of ways.
What's the motivation behind this? I mean, I kind of hear two chatter in the oil community. One, they need to actually raise cash to help them fund their budget due to low oil prices. The other is that this is more of a bigger shift in what the kingdom wants to become, more transparency, and it's a bigger issue. What's your call?
I'd say both. So the IPO is unlikely to happen in the real short term. But I'd say, with the new king and his young son, the Deputy Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, coming into power, everything is on the table in the kingdom. I mean, especially this, the young Deputy Crown Prince. He seems to be sort of casting his eye around the landscape and looking for creative ways that he can make his name and sort of develop some legitimacy and get Saudi Arabia onto a different, more competitive, more diversified track. So that's part of it. But raising cash, when times are tight, is also part of it.
All right, Jim Krane, thank you for the primer on Saudi Aramco, Rice University Energy Research Fellow.